Dear people of Ambazonia, fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement, my dear people of the southern Cameroons, accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro, this day. Today is Friday, and this is February 28, 2025. This is the last day of this month, and so we are getting ready to embrace the third month of the year, 2025. So I'm extending liberation greetings to all and sundry, to brave people on ground zero all over the southern Cameroons who continue to show proof of resiliency, who continue to show determination, and who continue to stay totally focused to the cause of the freedom of our land. I also want to extend hearty salutes to all those in the diaspora, everywhere in the diaspora, who have refused to give up, who have refused to be discouraged, who have refused to fall to the antics of La République du Cameroun, who have refused to fall to the so seriously used moniker Amber Boys this, Amber Boys that, who have refused to, give in to that stupid thought that there is a certain one and indivisible existing somewhere, who have continued to provide serious financing for our people on ground zero to continue to resist La République du Cameroun. I want to extend hearty salutes to all of you. My dear people of Ambazonia, we are locked in a battle for our very existence. I always say this, and I will reiterate this. We are locked in a battle for our very existence. Reason we must fight and fight and fight until we get that which we stand for, that which we believe in. There is nothing as sweet as freedom. My people of Ambazonia, just take a quick look at what is happening to our people across the world. Wherever there are changes, we are shaken because we don't know what will become of us. Even those who felt that taking nationalities in foreign countries was already a shield and they could give themselves, they could say, go to wherever you want. I am no longer part of this whole thing. Today, they are coming to that clear understanding that these nationalities too often are paper nationalities and they can be revoked. Oh yes, they can be revoked. We have heard about that. That is why we must continue to tell ourselves by day and by night that there is no place like home. There is no place as sweet as home. I'm sure we all recall this cliche sometimes, where you find somebody playing so well in the French team. You recall Basile Boli, who was a player in the Le Coq Sportif of France, and when he was playing and scoring the goals seriously for France, Le Français Basile Boli. When he doesn't play well and he's messing up on the field, oh, l'Africain, they will call the name of his country, I forgot where is l'Ivoirien, Basile Boli. And you will see we will be toying with our blood and everything, and believing that we belong. That is how it's been all the time. When you are bringing glory, you are their citizen. But when you're not bringing glory, you are not one of theirs. They remind you of your roots. This is to tell us that our roots are too important. That is why we must do everything within our powers to secure our homeland, to ensure that we have a free homeland. We have a lot of people in refugee camps in ground one, in ground two, and in other parts of the world needing our assistance, crying for help. We have a lot of internally displaced people, women living in bushes, women and children living in bushes, crying for salvation. We have a lot of our business people who have taken refuge in the enemy's camp, who are now refugees in La République du Cameroun, facing all kinds of dehumanizing treatment by day and by night. This is why we cannot have sleep. This is why we cannot stay quiet. This is why I, for one, I can't just get up one morning and turn my back to this liberation movement. This is why we have to continue fighting. This is why we have to do everything to continue sustaining this liberation movement, to make sure we send La République du Cameroun out of our land. My dear people of Ambazonia, the tears of Penin are still flowing. I mean, the tears of the people of Penin are still flowing meaning the tears of the people of Ambazonia are still flowing. The tears also of the people of Bamesen are still flowing, meaning the tears of the people of Ambazonia are flowing. The tears of the people of Ngabu are still flowing, meaning the tears of the people of Ambazonia are still flowing. The tears of the people of Kumba, the tears of the people of Ndian, the tears of the people of Ekondo Titi, my dear people, the tears of the people of Bokova, the tears of the people of Ekona are still flowing, meaning the tears of the people of Ambazonia are still flowing. We cannot afford to turn our backs to this liberation movement. We must stand firm. If our people on ground zero are standing firm, we must stand firm with them. Just take a look at this. I was talking randomly to a lot of our mothers in Chomba, in Batu, in Songwa, in Ekona Lelu, in Badun, in Jongo, in Lumbambo, in Tenako. I was talking to them in Furawa. One thing they were telling me, our son, my son, forget, we are not involved in March 8. But March 8 is not a La République du Cameroon celebration. It's an international day for the recognition of the woman. But because La République du Cameroon has decided to use any form of celebration on southern Cameroon soil to try and send the wrong narrative to the world, our mothers, our wives, our sisters, our daughters have now said they are not going to be part of this. In fact, I'm hearing from a good lot of them that they are mostly going to stay home on March 8, meaning most likely March 8 is going to be ghosted. It's going to be a ghost town day in so many localities or all over Ambazonia, all over the southern Cameroons. This is the people's resolve to continue to show the world that we don't want to have anything to do with La République du Cameroon. Not because we are against an international day, like the International Day of the Woman, but because we don't want to have anything to do with La République operatives on our land. This is determination. This is a show of resiliency. My dear people of Ambazonia, we must continually rise to the occasion to show them that we are happy that they are being resilient. You have not been contributing to this liberation movement. You have not been contributing to the struggle. You have not been putting in your dime to help us help our foot soldiers. By foot soldiers on this platform, I mean those people. They are elderly, they are middle-aged, they are young. Some of them are even crippled, but they use all kinds of means to move. Some of them are physically challenged, like I said. Others have various kinds of, of infirmities, but they are determined to build bridges between the local community, the civilian population, and the self-defense volunteers to protect and reduce the loss of civilian lives. These are those foot soldiers I'm talking about. As I'm talking to you now, there is so much going on in Bamesen. As the people are doing everything to build bridges between the only bro and his boys and the local population to make sure that peace will reign among them, that the enemy will not be the local people. The enemy for these self-defense volunteers will be the invading forces of La République du Cameroon. Those are the people they picked up arms to go after. My concern, I've said 1,001 times here, is the safety of the civilian population. And I'm delighted that quite some people are responding to these calls to provide their assistance for our foot soldiers to continue to go all over the place, everywhere on the territory, to make sure the civilian population is safe. They're also doing everything to build those kind of bridges that will make it possible for the civilian population to also be able to withstand the incursions from the invading forces of La République du Cameroon by using all peaceful means possible to protect themselves and to be informed in advance of any form of invasion or raids. This is very important. While those who are actually involved with self-defense continue to prosecute the war with the invading forces, with the colonial forces from La République du Cameroon. My dear people of Ambazonia, if you want to contribute to this effort, look down on the crow where I say fund your freedom. Use PayPal or Zelle, amberrelief2018@gmail.com. Let's begin with this thought. You see, they tell you, happy slaves are the worst enemies of freedom. I collected this flyer from a forum where someone shared, and I said, this is exactly it. Happy slaves are the worst enemies of freedom. You'll be asking yourself, or ask yourselves, but who are happy slaves? Happy slaves are those ones who are telling us we should not have started this in the first place. We didn't start it. No. What we did, all of 2016, beginning with the lawyers and the teachers, and so many years back with the SCNC, was always telling La République du Cameroon, let us sit down and talk so that we will have better conditions. At the point we said, let us sit down and talk and go back to the 1961 federal system that brought us together, where you are on your side, I'm on my side, and we'll only meet to do things together somewhere. And La République du Cameroon said, if you dare me, it is death. And because Honorable Wiba told them we were not conquered at war, they now said, because we keep talking about this over and over, it is time to teach us a lesson. So those ones who continually tell us that, oh, one and indivisible, who are citizens of the Southern Cameroons, are happy slaves. Those members of the CPDM crime syndicate who are all over our territory, intoxicating people and trying to distort our history to make us think that we're fighting a war of blame, are happy slaves. Those among us in this liberation movement who have got up now and started telling us that this is a failed venture are happy slaves. Those who have suddenly turned and started attributing every evil thing to us when they know exactly who is doing it are happy slaves. Those who collect money from La République du Cameroon to turn against their own very wishes and aspirations for a free and independent Southern Cameroons are happy slaves. Those who have just decided to be quiet, shifted to one corner and decided that I'm not part of this thing, that you're Ambazonia, that you're Southern Cameroon thing, I'm not there. You're also a happy slave. Those who have the means to help push this liberation movement forward, to fast forward it, to make it move faster, that will get La République du Cameroon out of our land and restore the soul of our country, are also happy slaves. Refuse to be a happy slave. Arise and be counted. Let us make sure we will bequeath a free and independent Southern Cameroons to generations and generations of Southern Cameroonians to come. That our children and our children's children will not be the laughing stock of the world, will not be used by citizens of La République du Cameroon as slaves, will not be looted, exploited, their wives and children raped with reckless abandon. No, we must rise and fight for that which we believe in. Look at this. Just as I was talking about happy slaves, I've seen some hysteria among some people when they read an article in which this man you find on my screen here, who is a military general, a retired general, a military general, 5-star general, who is at the same time the ambassador of La République Française to Yaounde, to Cameroon. His name is Thierry Marchal. Because he said a few days ago, and that was on the 27th of February, that's actually yesterday, while he was in Bamenda, that he said the Anglophone, because that's how he calls it, the Anglophone crisis or the Anglophone conflict, which has claimed thousands of lives, will soon be resolved. That's why he said the war will soon end, that it will soon be resolved. The confidence with which he appeared to say it tells you and me that it seems he has the magic wand. It seems he knows exactly what should be done. It seems he and France have always known what ought to have been done to end. And he said they are looking for a political solution. Recall that France, throughout, has been that country that has supported La République du Cameroon unconditionally to decimate the people of the southern Cameroons. France, at the United Nations, at the Security Council, threatened to use its veto when the United States of America, during President Trump's first presidency, wanted the situation in the southern Cameroons to be discussed at the UN Security Council as a standalone issue. Even getting to the arrest formula, where it was finally discussed, was a talk of war because France mobilized all its friends to fight against this. We watched the French foreign minister, a lady at the European Union, or the French representative at a European Union meeting, say loud and clear that when they were putting a lot of pressure on Mr. Paul Biya, they should recognize that La République du Cameroon had done a lot and that we, the people of the southern Cameroons, were to blame for what was happening to us. And she made clear always that France will stand with Paul Biya any day, anytime, anyhow. It is no secret to anybody that France has financed and promoted that war in the southern Cameroons relentlessly until this minute. And to sit and imagine that a French diplomat goes to Bamenda, gets decorated by royal beggars who don't even know their left from their right, picks a crown from the gutter, and starts making this kind of noise. And you sit to listen to him. For me, it provokes only laughter. Why will it provoke only laughter? Because we know so well what France stands for. We know so well that France can never mean well for the people of the southern Cameroons. When the French ambassador talks of working with the European Union and their partners to ensure a political solution, wait a minute. During the so-called Grand National Dialogue that the people of La République themselves called Grand National Monologue, the French influenced and fabricated something that they offered to us called special status. Those who fell for it, I recall Agbobala. Yeah, I recall Barrister Agbobala standing there and crying even at that place that they should just give federation, that they should even just talk about it. They said special status. To this day, even La République du Cameroon's governing officials don't know what is in that special status. They turned around and had talked about decentralization, which scam they promoted since 2004. I mean, since 2004 to this date. All the efforts that are being made are to ensure that the people of the southern Cameroons will remain unevenly yoked to La République du Cameroon, so that France should continue to have unfettered access to our natural resources. Don't ever forget that this plan to turn around and annex the people of the southern Cameroons, who voluntarily went into a union of two states equal in status with La République du Cameroon, had always been masterminded by France. They accelerated it in the 1970s, or in the late 60s, early 70s, when they discovered oil in the southern Cameroons. I said here before, and I reiterated, La République du Cameroon and France should dig all the oil in the southern Cameroons and take it out and leave us the country. Leave our country for us. We don't need oil to develop our country. Too many countries in the world that don't even have oil have developed, are prosperous, and they are doing well. Oil in some countries in Africa even has ended up being a curse. So when I saw this article written by my very good friend Corbett Gwenfulai of the Corbett Factor, I took interest in it. I said, let me look at it. So when I saw these expressions, I say Ambassador Marchand's statement offers a glimmer of hope for a region that has been plagued by violence and instability. And so the fact that France and the European Union are committed to finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict is a positive step towards ending the crisis. However, the success of this endeavor depends on the willingness of all parties involved to work together towards a common goal. Listen, folks, France was also behind La République du Cameroon's withdrawal from the pre-talks in Canada. It's been France all the time. It has always been France. France has been behind all the arrangements at the IMF, the World Bank, the European Union, all these instances, even the African Development Bank, to continue pouring money into La République du Cameroon to use and decimate the people of the southern Cameroons, the people of Ambazonia. It's always been France. Don't forget that the French president, Emmanuel Macron, was in Nigeria prior to the time Comrade Sisiku Ayuktabe and his cabinet were shipped back in violation of international law to La République du Cameroon. It has always been France. France, France, France. At all the times. Why has the African Union never ever issued a strong statement about what is happening in the southern Cameroons? It has been France. Because the chairman of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki, the Chadian, was always going to do the bidding of France. France is always represented at the African Union meetings. Why has CEMAC never taken interest in the situation in the southern Cameroons if they claim that the southern Cameroons are part of CEMAC? Always been France. France is the architect of the ongoing genocidal war in the southern Cameroons. If you find the French taking interest today in saying they are trying to make efforts to bring a political solution, it is because France is seeing right ahead that the ethnic cleansing that's going to take place in La République du Cameroon will be unprecedented. And so what do they need to do? They need to do what Otto von Bismarck said. It is not good to fight a war on two fronts. So they need to do everything, multiply efforts, blindfold the people of the southern Cameroons, send us to sleep with the impression that they are interested in our good, so that they can keep us at bay, while the République du Cameroon citizens fight themselves or to sort themselves out and come back and continue in their effort to keep us under colonial occupation. This is what is animating France today. I had announced this before. I said this before. That La République du Cameroon, caught up in the current situation in which they are, will do everything within their powers to try and see how to hold us down while they go fight among themselves, resolve their problem in the end, no matter how long it will take, come back and meet us and continue to keep us under colonial subjugation. That is why they are spending every franc they can get to ensure that they enforce a serious and biting divide and rule among the people of the southern Cameroons. That is why by day and night, you see them struggling with all their might to amplify something they call Northwest-Southwest divide. That is why they are using all their might to buy people, to buy the consciences of people within our liberation movement, to get those talking heads to continue to talk against this movement, or get people from within who focus only on internal actors and internal issues within our liberation movement. The timing is not by error. The timing is not mistaken. And the purpose is clear, because they know that they have a big problem in their hands right ahead. And so they must do everything to weaken us, so that even when that opportunity presents itself, we won't pick it up, because we will fight ourselves, quarrel among ourselves, continue attacking each other and fighting to be the only cock that will crow while they finish whatever will be holding them down and come back. Listen, Honorable Tibor Nadi tweeted a couple of times, and I'll bring those tweets to this platform soon again, when he said that what is happening in the southern Cameroons, if it were happening in Canada, the French would be on every rooftop singing and chanting. Because in the same article, I heard them say, oh, the Canadian experience, where, I mean, the people, those in Quebec and those in mainland Canada are operating in all kinds of calm and good and all of those things. They forget that even when the people of Quebec are enjoying very nice moments in Canada, have a lot of rights in Canada, when Canadian prime ministers have also come from Quebec. Oh, yes. Because in La République du Cameroun, you all heard Abenzonga tell you that allowing Frundi to assume the presidency in 1992 after he won the presidential election would have been throwing the country into water. So at the same time that the French will do everything to see the Quebecois lead in Canada, they will do everything to make sure no Southern Cameroonians ever carries up the head high in a dispensation of the two entities living together. Un anglophone au pouvoir, jamais. Un Bamileke au pouvoir, that's among them, jamais. They forget that the same French have pushed over seriously for the independence of Quebec until there have been two referenda in Quebec to ask the people to freely decide whether they want to continue being part of Canada or they want to be an independent country. All of this has been pushed and sponsored by France. The same privilege they don't want to hear that you and me of the Southern Cameroons enjoy. Anything France is bad news for the people of the Southern Cameroons. Don't ever lose sight of this. I say anything France is bad news for the people of the Southern Cameroons. Don't you ever lose sight of this. Because say Thierry Marchand expressed satisfaction with the number of youths in Cameroon's two English-speaking regions, particularly in Bamenda, who have received assistance from France through the French Cultural Center and other programs. Oh yes, those are programs meant to brainwash our people, to brainwash our youth. I was following Ibrahim Traoré, the interim president of Burkina Faso, addressing the youth, the African youth, and telling the African youth, listen, manipulations too often and brainwashing is targeting the youth from the West. It's targeting the youth. Because they know that if they sponsor programs for you, if they give you scholarships, if they keep you in places, they will end up being able to control your thought pattern. And you will begin to sing only virtue about them and not see their vices. This is something we must not lose sight of. My dear people of Ambazonia, the French are not our friends. They have never been and they will never be. Don't ever forget that in 1961 and on the 21st of April, at the United Nations, when they were holding an independence vote for the Southern Cameroons, France mobilized all French-speaking African countries, that were its colonies in Africa, along with La République du Cameroun, to vote against independence for Southern Cameroons. Mali was the only country that broke with France and the other French colonies in Africa and voted for the independence of the Southern Cameroons. France has never ever been on our side. France has never ever been our friend. France has never ever thought anything good for the people of the Southern Cameroons. Therefore, don't you ever make any error to sit down and conceive that something good can be coming to you and me through France. No. When you hear France is behind something, run away from it with all your might. This should serve our people to understand what I'm talking about. We must continue the resistance and we must continue to prepare for the opportunity that lies ahead. I've said here before, success is when opportunity meets preparation. We have to overcome the challenges in our midst. We have to fund our liberation movement. We have to do everything we can to keep this movement alive. For that time when we will laugh our laugh is close. We must not give the opportunity to adventurers to come and deceive us again into further slavery. I've said it and I'm repeating it here. If we ever fail in this liberation movement, God forbid, trust me, our situation will be worse than I could imagine. If Biya himself, the president, the diaper-wearing genocidaire of La République du Cameroon, could confess in motion pictures, squeezed by Mo Ibrahim, that the intention had always been to assimilate you and I, what do you think has changed? What has changed? We must continue to stand strong. I'll take a quick break, and when I come back, I'll be bringing you some very teasy news, some very interesting discussion that you just don't want to afford to miss. So during this short break, share the link. Share the link, share as much as you can. Let's reach as many people as we can, because this information is vital for all and sundry. You're welcome back. So, my people of Ambazonia, let us now move to La République du Cameroon and share this important video together. So, in La République du Cameroon, the citizens more and more are coming to terms with the reality that the weeks and months ahead in their country are going to be extremely turbulent. They are coming to the realization more and more that the future is not only bleak, but is bloody right ahead. Today, more than ever before, they are no longer shy in discussing about it. This is something I have taken time over and over to tell our people that we must at all times stand ready, for the days ahead are pregnant. I've taken time off to tell our people who are living in the hinterlands of the Bulu Ekambeti land, especially, and in other parts of La République du Cameroon, in the hinterlands, to begin coming out of there very quickly and running back home. Because there will come a time where you will be blocked, where you will not be able to leave those places, where you will immediately become the target. If you have been doubting what I'm saying, I'm convinced that what happened in Oyem Sound should serve as an example. That what happened just a few days back, a few days ago, in Oyem Sound, in the south of La République du Cameroon, should serve as a warning sign that it is time for you to leave all the hinterlands of La République du Cameroon. You are a Southern Cameroonian. Just because you are a Southern Cameroonian, just because you are an Ambazonian, you are already a target. Whether you are a civil servant or you are what, I don't care. They don't care. I talked to you here about the video that's on social media in which they beat one of our sisters to pulp. Célèbre du quartier Bamenda. Beat her to pulp. Gave her the kind of treatment you would not want to give even to your dog, even if it stole meat. Oh, yes. They kicked her in places you would not dare do on a woman. The only crime that she committed first to deserve such treatment was that she was Southern Cameroonians. The next was the suspicion that she stole cocoa. My dear people of Ambazonia, I've said here a lot of times, and I like to repeat that what we are locked in is a war for our own very existence. That's why we are faced with what is called hard way, but it is the only way. Hard way, the only way. It is a hard way, but it is the only way. That is why we must have to continue to stand strong. So I have this citizen of La République du Cameroon who is saying very grave and interesting things. I've got one here before who said certain things and said there were not going to be any elections in 2025. Although he said and predicted that Mr. Paul Biya was going to, pass on in 2024. That did not happen, but he said with authority that there will be no elections in 2025. Of course, we know that there's a presidential election in La République du Cameroon that's supposed to take place somewhere in October, November 2025. But this other citizen is saying things even more grave. Let's follow.
Nous sommes le lundi 24 février 2025.
So don't think that this is older. It's a few days ago. Well, today is the 28th. This video was published on Monday, just a few days ago. Monday, okay? 4 days ago. Monday, the 24th day of February 2025. Hear what he's saying.
Je m'appelle Molier Wandi Tanke. Je suis né le 24 mars 1982 à Yaoundé au Cameroun. Je suis socialement bien entré au Cameroun. Je suis marié, chef d'entreprise, marié, chef d'une très grande famille, chef d'entreprise.
So as you can see, he's introducing himself, okay? I will jump in every now and then that there's something that he says, I know that is important, I will say it to you. It's a short video, it's not long. So he's introducing himself and he insists that he's introducing himself so that people should not think that he's some anonymous person or that he is not a citizen of La République du Cameroon or he's just somebody from somewhere just trying to create confusion or trouble. He wants to reassure the people that about whom he is and to tell them what his activity had been in La République du Cameroon before going out now to deliver his message to them.
Laveur de voiture, restaurateur, je suis bien entré au Cameroun, je sais de quoi je parle. Et je vis, mon entreprise se situe à 2 pas de 2 commissariats. Donc c'est moi, c'est bien moi. Voilà mon passeport camerounais. Voilà mon passeport. Je ne sais pas si vous voyez bien.
So you see what he's doing there? He's explaining that he actually lives in Cameroon and that he's not called a town. Where he lives is in between 2 police stations. 2 police stations. That's why to do commissariat. And he's showing his Cameroon passport, showing his name again, like I said earlier, just to make it clear to you that he is actually Cameroonian and talking about his country. It's not fabricated.
Voilà, voilà mon passeport. Voilà mon passeport camerounais. Je fais cette vidéo parce que je fais toutes ces précisions parce que ce que je vais dire est très grave. Mais il faut le dire. C'est ma mission, c'est mon devoir. Le 20 mai 2025.
Yeah, he says he's introducing himself, doing all of this, going to all extents, calling his name and all, and so you know him well, because what he's going to say right ahead is very grave. Very, very grave. The gravity of it is not to be taken for granted. Let's follow him.
Bien. Dans moins de 3 mois, il y aura une tentative de coup d'État au Cameroun. Pendant que nos lions seront rassemblés au boulevard du 20 mai, certains de nos lions, pas tous les lions, parce qu'il y en a beaucoup, pendant que certains de nos dirigeants seront rassemblés au boulevard du 20 mai en attendant le chef de l'État, son cortège sera intercepté par sera intercepté sur la route du boulevard par une force de feu, pas possible. On va tirer, ça sera terrible. Au même moment, dans les coins de la ville, les quartiers populaires de la ville, des brigands vont attaquer sans distinction les populations dans les carrefours.
Now, you hear that? I want to interrupt here. Now, let me say this before I continue even explaining. Sometimes we hear people say, get out. I recall there was somebody who came someday and said it was a prophecy. He was saying something special was going to happen on some 20th May. It did not come to pass. But let me tell you, when you are living in a powder magazine, don't joke with anything. Let me say this. Sometimes they even let somebody say like this, just so that you say, he has already said it now. Measures will be taken, nothing will happen. If there was something serious, it would not be said like this. But folks, let me tell you, one thing I've learned is that usually when they really plan to destroy you, they tell you in advance. Too often they tell you in advance, but they make it in such a way that you are likely to disregard it. You say, this is nonsense, this is water. But be careful. Why am I interested in this? I just want our people to be warned. You heard what he said. That on the 20th of May, 2025, while local and foreign dignitaries will be assembled at the 20th May Boulevard in Yaounde, waiting for Mr. Paul Biya, his convoy will be intercepted and attacked with some firepower never before seen. And he also says at the same time, in major junctions in the city, in the various neighborhoods in Yaounde, the civilian population will be attacked mercilessly. And it's going to be a rampant kind of attack. Although it doesn't say specific people from specific areas will be targeted, but it says it will just be, a free for all. But let me be clear here. My dear people of the Southern Cameroons, you know that in the event of any such thing, you are going to be the first target. We will be the first target. This is why we should all be on the alert. We should make hay while the sun shines. Let's follow him again.
Sans distinction. Un peu comme les microbes font souvent à Douala. Ils vont attaquer les gens et ce sera comme ça va créer un vent de panique parce que ça sera dans beaucoup de coins de la ville. Aux 4 coins de la ville, ça sera partout comme ça.
So he says it will be like that all over Yaounde. All over in Yaounde. That the attacks, that the assaults will be merciless. And that there's going to be a lot of loss of life. He calls it an attempted coup. Which means he doesn't say it will be a successful coup. Which is the reason there will be a lot of fighting. Which is the reason it may take a long time. Which is the reason it's going to be extremely bloody for what he is saying. If it comes to pass. Me, I'm here to draw our people's attention to the fact that let us be careful. Follow.
Ce jour, dans l'arrière-pays, dans certains coins de l'arrière-pays, il y aura une sorte de vendetta tribaliste. Un peu comme ce qui s'est passé à Meyo la semaine dernière, où on a retrouvé un jeune égorgé. On ne sait pas qui l'a tué, on ne sait pas comment, mais ses frères ont décidé d'aller se venger sur les biens d'une autre communauté. Ça sera comme ça dans tout le pays, une espèce de guerre tribale.
So you heard him. He says, while this will be going on in Yaounde, in the rest of the country, in the hinterlands of the country, almost everywhere in the country, there is going to be serious strife. And it's going to be along ethnic lines. He made clear, along ethnic lines. And he says it will be a kind of replica, now to a bigger scale, of what happened in Mayo Sound. I talked about it a while ago. What happened in Mayo Sound in the south, where the people came out to say one of theirs that was killed was definitely killed by foreigners, in quote. People coming from other parts of the country, and of course from the southern Cameroons as well, and attacked and looted and destroyed property, wounded people and killed. And I said at the last count I learned almost 10 people had lost their lives in Mayo Sound. No newspaper in La République du Cameroon has talked about it. No news organ in La République du Cameroon has talked about it until this day. And he says it is going to be excessively bloody.
Je le dis parce que j'aime mon pays et j'ai comme l'impression que tout est fait pour aller vers ça. Je suis convaincu que nos élites nous ont trahis, que nos élites sont préparées à ça. Ils ont fait des réserves chez eux. Ils ont tout ce qu'il faut pour tenir, même si ça doit durer, je ne sais pas combien de temps.
So he says that he knows that the powers that be have been looking up to and preparing for this moment. And he says they have taken all the dispositions to the best of his knowledge to prepare for it. And they have filled themselves enough. You know, I've said it before, a good lot of those members of the CPDM crime syndicate, be they those from the Southern Cameroon or those in La République du Cameroon, have shipped their families abroad. That's part of the preparation. I've been saying it over and over. Most of them have bought property abroad, shipped their families out of the country in preparation for this ultimate moment, for this showdown. And he says they are prepared for it for as long as it will last. He doesn't know how long it's going to last. In the Southern Cameroons, my people, this will be the ultimate moment because La République du Cameroon will need all their forces back in their country to stem the tides. That is why you notice that the French ambassador will go over there making noise. That's why you notice that they will be multiplying all kinds of efforts to push a divide, the divide and rule among Southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians, so that when they will be locked in this earthly cleansing in their land, we will be fighting among ourselves for hegemony, for who will be at the helm, so that they will finish and come back and meet us at the same spot. God forbid. This is why I hail all those who are multiplying efforts here and there to build synergy among Southern Cameroonians. Let's finish up.
Mais c'est nous qui allons mourir. C'est nous le petit peuple, les petits gens, les jongleurs, les petits jongleurs de chaque jour, parce que moi-même je suis un jongleur. C'est nous les jongleurs qui allons mourir. Nous les petits gens, les laveurs de voitures, les petits sauveteurs, la petite briseuse de poissons au quartier, nous tous là qui n'avons rien, qui vivons au quotidien, c'est nous qui allons mourir. C'est notre sang qu'on va verser ce jour. On va verser notre sang énormément. Nous allons mourir en grand nombre. C'est pourquoi je sors. Parce que c'est notre pays. Et je ne peux pas, le Seigneur ne peut pas me révéler les choses comme ça, je garde ça pour moi. Même si on me paye 100 millions, je vais prendre cet argent et je vais parler. Parce que c'est notre argent. Je le dis parce que je sais qu'il y a des jeunes comme moi qu'on a corrompus. Il y a des jeunes...
Did you hear him? He said the loss of lives will be serious. That there are a lot of people who are going to lose their lives. And he says very clearly that he could not get this kind of revelation and decide not to talk about it. He said he knows that there would have been a lot of attempts to give him money, to bribe him and all whatnot, to keep sealed lips. But he claims that even they gave him 100 million in CFA, he will still talk because he loves his country, like Republic of Cameroon, and because he sees the danger that lies right ahead. And he says he knows that a lot of the youths have been corrupted, have been bought over to do evil. That's what I say every day. A lot of young people have been bought over, even in the Southern Cameroons, and are being used as fake amber, as our people call them, and are being used as fake amber to do what? To loot the people, to promote kidnappings for ransom, to exacerbate the situation, and to torture the local population so that the people should turn against their own freedom movement. Oh yes, he's confirming what we all know. Don't get me wrong. I have never said, and I will never say, that among the real self-defense volunteers, there are not people who are misguided. All armies all over the world also have people who are misguided. They should be brought to book. But you know, my area of specialization is civil society. And so I usually pay more attention about the safety of the civilian population. You know this I say? While they corrupt this youth to carry out these exactions for their evil designs, these youth are carrying out these evil exactions on their own people, on the civilian population that does not deserve this. That is where it touches me. My dear people of Ambazonia, we must be getting wise by the minute, by the day. Let's finish our thing.
Jeunes comme moi qui sont entrés dans ces choses qu'on a corrompues, on a donné de l'argent et qui ont un rôle à jouer là-dedans. Mais je vous dis, ne le faites pas parce que vous n'êtes que des pions. Ils se servent de vous. Ce sont des amis. C'est la même classe, c'est la même bande. Ils vont vous sacrifier d'une manière ou d'une autre. Vous allez nous tuer, vous allez tuer nos parents, vous allez tuer nos soeurs, vous allez tuer nos enfants, vous allez tuer vos soeurs, vous allez tuer les vôtres. Et après, ils vont vous tuer. Parce que rien ne va leur arriver. Ils ont l'argent, ils ont tout l'argent du pays bloqué chez eux. Donc, tout ce qu'ils vous ont donné, prenez cet argent, mais ne faites pas ce qu'ils vous ont dit. On a même besoin des rebonds de bois actuellement. C'est des rebonds de bois qu'on a besoin. Je dis bien, le 20 mai 2025, il y aura tentative de coup d'État au Cameroun et ça sera le bordel, ça sera le chaos. Un chaos.
So, he's dishing out his own little advice to the young people. They give you money to be involved in this. Don't, even if you collect the money, don't do it. Well, the normal piece of advice we'll continue to give to our people here by day and by night. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't, sometimes they want to give the impression that we are stupid who are trying to tell them that no, don't allow yourself to be used like this and all of those. But my people of Ambazonia, let's be clear about one thing. This freedom we seek is not for some people. This freedom we seek is for all of us. This freedom we seek is to improve our society, that all Ambazonians, all Southern Cameroonians will live and enjoy their country, that we will not be tossed from left and right across the world, that we will have a place that we call home, that we will have a place where we know we are heroes, where we know we are kings, where we know we are princes, where we know we count, where we will be treated with respect and dignity. He insists that there's going to be serious chaos in La République du Cameroun. Maybe you don't need a soothsayer to say it, but let's finish.
Indescriptible, inimaginable. Même les forces loyales du chef de l'État ne pourront pas contenir ça. Ça viendra de partout. Donc les seuls qui peuvent arrêter ça, c'est le peuple camerounais. En disant
You
non.
hear what he says? That the chaos will be unimaginable. He says even forces loyal to Mr. Paul Biya will not be able to contain what is coming right ahead. He says the chaos will be everywhere, all over the place, like never before seen. That even the forces, even the forces loyal to Mr. Paul Biya will not be able to contain the situation. And he says only the people of La République du Cameroun can. That is their business.
Non à la guerre, en disant non à la guerre civile, en disant que nous voulons la paix, parce que c'est la paix qui garantit.
So I will let him go, and I really want to take this opportunity to draw the attention of the people of the Southern Cameroons. My dear people of Ambazonia, let us remain strong. Let us remain resilient. But by all means, let us close our ranks. Let us prepare for the moments ahead. If you are still in the territory of La République du Cameroun, and especially in the hinterlands, please come out of there. Please, for your safety, come out of there. Like I said always, I know there are people who come here to berate, to insult, and to say all kinds of things to Bakuro because they think they should be able to attack the messenger in order to destroy the message. But those who always come to discourage us, they are also there. They are also in their numbers. They may not be the majority. They are not even the majority. They may be just about 10%, but that 10% is enough to cause confusion. We must work to overcome them. Those whom you see and think that these are people who can rely on, but they turn around and start trying to derail us, they are also there. That's why I keep saying, and I will close with Baruch Spinoza, that I have tried sedulously not to laugh at the acts of man, not to lament them, not to detest them, but to understand them. That's why I don't lament, I don't detest those members of the CPDM crime syndicate. I simply understand them and I explain them to you and I, so that we should be able to know that these are the people. We simply need to avoid them, but that is who they are. You can't change them. Greed is what is pushing these people to continually try to force us into the hands of the enemy, even when they know that the only thing that we will meet at the end there will be tears, tribulation, and blood. Yeah. The Mama Regina Mundis, the Atanga Ponji, the Mafani Musonges, the Tabetandos, those are the people. They know. But they tear themselves after us because their futures are behind them. They tear themselves after us, chaos. That's the joy we must not give them. We must fight hard. We must fight hard. We must fight hard to make sure we get our country. Don't ever forget this picture. Even as I end this communication, I want you to go away with this picture on your mind. We are two. Two are not just divisible, we are two and completely apart, as you can see. Those two maps are not being given by me. They're given by the United Nations. And that is at the presidency of the Republic of La République du Cameroon. Don't ever let this image get off your mind, because it will remind you and I every now and then that we have always been two and clearly divisible. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Share the link as much as you can so that others should have the opportunity to share in this in the information that are just disseminated on this platform. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and to God be all the glory.